What's up, guys? It's the Black Bonsai guy. I'm back here today, and today we will be taking care of this blueberry plant that I was supposed to take care of during the spring, but I never got to it. So without further ado, we're gonna glove up and get straight into it. I'll be back. All right, so the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna take all of this stuff off. Got my scissors here. When I got it, the blueberry was already fruiting, so I didn't mess with it because it was producing fruit. But now it's time to tidy it up a bit. So just looking at it, see how some of the leaves are crispy. This is my first year growing blueberries, so I don't know if this is due to sunburn, because it's been hot in Tucson. We had the 3 hottest months, I think they said, in the history of Tucson. The 3 hottest months. That's crazy. So I don't know if this is from the heat or if it's because the plant is not taking up nutrients. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna treat both of them. I'm gonna put it to a cooler part of the yard, and then I'm going to give it some nutrients to help it out a little bit. So first thing I want to do is kind of trim it back a bit. So let's go here, and there's no method to it right now. I'm not making methodical cuts or nothing like that. I'm just cutting it back a bit, getting the dead branches off. Making sure no branches are crossing each other or growing back into the plant. And you don't have to be too crazy about this, because the more branches you have, the more blueberries it should produce for you. It looks pretty good. So what I'm gonna do next is, let me get my trash bucket. Hold on for a second. All right, we back. Handy dandy trash bucket. Makes cleanup easy, so you don't gotta do it later. So what I want to do now is just kind of massage the pot a bit. I'm going to lift it out of the pot. Make sure you guys can see that. Let me adjust for a second. Hold on. There we go. So I took it out of the pot. I watered this today, so of course I would expect to see some water in it. But that soil looks extremely dense, and I think that may be part of the problem. Not a well-draining soil. It don't feel too crazy. But I'm gonna take some of that soil off. I'm gonna just go right into show you the bottom of it first. I don't see any signs of the plant being root bound, which is a good thing. I'm gonna but I do see water dripping from it. If you squeeze, see that? So that tells me right now that the soil that I bought this plant from Lowe's, the soil that they use is just not the right soil for it. It's holding too much moisture. I probably have a little bit of root damage in there because the soil is just the roots are staying wet all day long. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pull some of this top dressing off. I gotta pull out the big boys for this one. I'll be back. All right, I'm back. I went and got my bonsai tool that I use to scrape soil off. So I'm gonna just try to tease some of this out. And the reason why they use these types of soils is because they want to make sure that the plant doesn't die from lack of moisture. So they put this medium that holds a lot of moisture in it. The problem is you gotta recognize the watering, the proper watering schedule to use. So we're just combing it out right now. So let me bring this over here. If you see, the soil is almost, there's no trunk line on here. So I'm gonna try to pull some of that soil back away from here to raise it up in the pot a little bit more. It could have been a water issue combined with a suffocation issue. I should have did this in the spring, but you can't get to everything. So I'll pause and finish this up. I know you guys don't want to see all of that. All right, I'm back. So this is the root ball that we're gonna go with. And I already prepared some soil, putting it in a 15-gallon pot. So first thing I want to do is I want to get some of this leftover soil. I want to get some of that in my pot. And the reason why you want that is because that soil has bacteria and microbes in it, and you want that bacteria and microbes to get into the next pot as well, as long as it's good. So I'll put this up here. See if you guys can see. Yeah. this in there a little bit. We're gonna place this in here. Now in here I already have my soil, but in the bottom of it I have a whole bunch of empty water bottles, taking up the volume. I don't have to use as much soil. As this plant begins to grow and grow and grow, all I gotta do is lift it out the pot, take some of those bottles off, and reduce the amount that it's taking up, and just add more soil to it. I think I'm going to plant it about that height. So I'm gonna pause and add some more soil, and I'll be back. All right, we back. So I got some soil into the pot. I have it loosely to where I want it. Just pressing the soil down around it right now. All right. Now it's time for some food. Let me correct myself. It's time for some supplements. Remember, plants make their own food through photosynthesis. All we do is we give them some things to help them along. So over here we have some. Azomax, trace nutrients, all that good stuff. Over here we have some Dr. Earth's fruit and nut fertilizer, and in the back we have some sulfur. Trace nutrients, just like your body needs trace minerals and all that good stuff. This is what that's supplying. Fertilizer, things to supplement the plant while it makes its own food. And probably one of the most important things when you're living in Arizona is sulfur. As I mentioned in my other videos, we have high pH in Tucson. Coming out the tap, our water, depending where you live, it can be 6+, 7+, 8+ in alkalinity. What we need to do out here to grow plants, first you want to understand what the plant needs in terms of pH. And blueberries are acidic. They love the acidic soil. So one of the ways we mimic acidic soils in Tucson is by using sulfur. If you want to raise the pH of your soil, you can use lime. So if you live in a place where you have a very, very acidic soil and you are growing something that needs an alkaline soil or a pH higher than where you live, you can use lime. You can also go to your barbecue pit and pull the ashes out of it. Those ashes are good for giving the plant trace nutrients, and it also can increase the alkalinity of your soil. So what we're going to do is we're going to add in some fertilizer, and the recommendations is I think a cup for every inch you have in girth on your tree trunk, and you take that 6 inches above the ground. Since this is a bush, I don't get crazy with it. I just sprinkle some around there. I don't get crazy. I probably put, this is a half a cup, I probably put a quarter, half of this, which is a quarter. I'll put just a little bit more in there, just to give the plant a little head start on this repot. And then I'm gonna take some of these Azomax, and I'm gonna sprinkle some of that in too. You should wear a mask when you use this. You don't want to use that Azomax in. It's not windy, so I should be good. Now what you want to do is take a rake or something and rake this into your soil line. The reason you break it down is because you don't want the wind to blow it away, first of all. Two, every time you water, you want the water to hit the fertilizer and the nutrients and bring it to the roots. And every time you water, you actually are bringing in oxygen to the roots. A lot of people don't realize that. Plants don't like to just sit in water. They need oxygen just like we do. I shouldn't say oxygen, I should say air. All right, I think we got it pretty well incorporated around the soil line. Next thing is the sulfur. You don't have to mix this into your soil line. Just sprinkle it around the root zone. All right, we're good to go. Now I'm gonna go sweep up some dead leaves. I'm gonna put a little layer of mulch over that to hold all that in, because we're in the hot part of the year. So I'll pause for a second. All right, we back. So I got myself some leaves that I swept up from across the yard. They're all in there. Good stuff. I'm just gonna take that. Put that all around. Now, of course, you want to make sure you don't have any mold, mildew, disease, bugs, or pests in this stuff. Because if you did, you would just be spreading it to this plant. Kind of pull it back off the trunk line, if you will. All right, we're done. Now it's time to water it in. All right, we're back. You gotta excuse my neighbor's dog. He likes to come out and bark when I do videos. How sweet is that? So what I'm doing is, remember I told you there was this plant was buried very deep in the pot that I got from Lowe's. So what I'm doing is I'm going to be intentional about getting this wine up in there and watering right around the trunk line. And the reason why I'm going to do that is because I want to basically wash away all of the dirt that's around the trunk line, essentially you know, making it fall below the trunk line and get into the root ball. I want that trunk line to be above ground and nice and dry at all times. And if it's sitting in soil all day, the soil has a potential to rot it and not allow oxygen and everything to get to the roots. And if you notice, I put my leaves all around here on the perimeter, and I kind of pulled it back maybe 2 inches off the trunk line, because I don't want those leaves resting against that trunk. So everybody who follows me, they know when I water in a pot, we water 3 times. So we're gonna get into it. So that's one time. We let that soak in. And what I'm gonna do is, since this plant was holding a lot of water, I was watering it every day. Thought that was in some decent soil, but it wasn't. I'm gonna go to watering this at least probably for the first month or so, probably on Wednesdays and Sundays when I water my desert roses. That way this will be allowed to dry out and not be sitting in water every day all day. So that's one time. Notice I'm kind of aggressive at first, and then I back off because I want to get all of that soil away from that trunk line. That's 2. Let that soak in for a second. And 3. All right, that's it. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna slide this pot around this, put it on the other side of this foxtail fern so that it can get the morning sun, and then probably around noon through the rest of the day it'll be shaded, and I'll see how it responds I will see how it responds to being in a slightly cooler environment. And if it doesn't like it, I'll just continue to back off with the sun until we get it to a zone where it feels comfortable. It's just been super hot. Like I said, last 3 months we broke a record, hottest 3 months in Tucson history. So probably not the best time to be doing a repot in the middle of all this heat, but you gotta do what you gotta do. So that's all I wanted to show you all today. It's the Black Bonsai Guy, and I'm out. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, and share the video. Holla back.